Internet? Welcome. This is another episode of Your Entertainment Specialist, aka Y.E.S. My name is Rico. I have an awesome video, thing I've been actually wanting to do for a really long time here. I am doing a little breakdown of a b-boy battle. I've hinted at this in a couple of videos I've had before, and many of you know that I talk about music, but I've been looking to get much more into the culture at large. Breaking is one of them, and obviously breaking is the ultimate dance. And so we have a special guest here that I've admired for a really long time, and I've wanted to be able to chat with him and be able to do something like this, especially since I love the style of judging that he has implemented and for the vision that he has wanted to put forward with breaking at large. So right here we've got breaking legend b-boy Dyzee. Thanks for joining here with me.
Hey, what's up? I'm super happy to be here and super happy to having this conversation with you. And what's up, Internet? Hope everyone's doing great. And yeah, I'm ready to do this.
All right. So we decided, Dyzee, you've done this before where you've broken down a battle, and we're doing a Red Bull BC1 battle breakdown. This is something that happened just a few weeks ago, and there's still some discussions going on about it. And so I thought I would like to hear your thoughts on it and also kind of add a little bit of my insight into it. Not really as a more pro b-boy, because clearly I am not, but based on some of the entertainment aspects that I've been looking at and trying to see if there's maybe something that is missing, not just from the judging system. So we'll get to that, but I'd love to see what we can do to break this down, because there was a lot of commentary that came from this final.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are talking about it, and they're still talking about it, and there's conspiracy theories, and there's all these things, and it's great. And I'm very good friends with Menno. He's a very close friend of mine, and I'm also very cool with Y.E.S. So it's not easy to talk about these things as people get upset, but I'm just trying to break it down as non-biased as possible and just providing insights to what judges may or may not have been looking at, right? So people can kind of get a kind of a sense of what judges could have been looking at, right? Because in the end, without a system, judging is actually subjective based on when you started breaking, how far you got, were you international or national or local level, like there's so many things to it. So yeah, that's I guess we could just dive right in.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so let me just bring it up over here. I'll be sharing the screen. Here we go.
All right.
Right, there it is. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna just.
So as a quick synopsis, I'm not sure if that's the right word in this case, but I think traditionally you've broken this down round per round and give kind of an idea of what each thing is, because right now we are judging through our system, which you developed. Which, help me, I know this, but trying to remember each one. We've got dynamics, battle, execution.
Yeah. So I'll break it down. So there's 5 different types of huge approaches and perspectives in breaking, right? Where every b-boy in the world, breaker and judge, will be looking at some of these, like these, right? Now some will weight some of them higher than the others, right, based on their opinion. Others will try to be more fair and look at them all the same or an equal weighing. But there's 5 major ones, right? And at different eras, like in the 90s, it was all about originality. So originality is one of the first categories, which is all about being individual, making your own moves, having your own style. It's really the art perspective. And then you got dynamics, as you said, which is about the difficulty, like the power, the tricks, the eye-catching stuff, the speed, the strength, like all those qualities that make you athletic or like a superhuman. And then you have the foundation perspective. foundation is about the tradition, right? Like it's a more traditional approach where it's more about the dance, the music, the attitude, the swagger, the flavor, the formula of dancing on top and then dancing on the floor and then finishing it with a freeze, and making shapes and having form and attitude. That's all a part of the foundation, right? So there's a view specifically, a judge specifically for that. Then you would have the an execution category, which is about perfection, about who's not making mistakes, who's actually really hitting their moves and really holding it longer and executing it, to the higher level, right? Not and then as well, who's crashing and making mistakes, who's losing their confidence. Like there's like quite a few things that need to be executed, and then the last one was formerly called battle. A long time ago, it was called strategy. Now it's called cipher, right? And what that is actually is in hip hop battles, you are supposed to be. It's supposed to be a dialogue, right? So it's not just a performance. People aren't supposed to be just going on the ground and showing their performance and doing whatever they want. You're supposed to be going back and forth with the person you're battling. If they're doing a specific move, you're supposed to say, "Hey, I got something for that. I can do that too." Or I have a variation for that. Like, it's supposed to be like that. So the cipher category is more about the response, how well you can respond, and as well as how much you can humiliate your opponent. In other words, bust their ego, meaning remove their confidence. And if you successfully get into their head and make them lose their confidence, then you essentially win, right? In the circle, in the ciphers, in the circles. So in the system there would be 5 judges, and each of those 5 judges would be assigned to one of those categories based on how much that one judge is known and respected for that particular approach. So it should work like this, where somebody who is very known for their foundation, for their dancing, their footwork, their musicality, would judge on foundation, right? And someone who's very known for their own uniqueness and originality, for creating lots of moves, they would be judging originality. And someone who's known for the crazy tricks and they know what it means to push their skill to the higher level and do things that other people can't do, they would judge dynamics. Now, a competition judge, who's all about execution and, a b-boy who's about not making mistakes because the execution perspective came from the competition era. So they would be judging execution. And then somebody who's, because the last category is kind of like almost now a lost perspective. But back before all these categories were around, that was the original perspective, was the cipher perspective, right? Like of playing off one another, right? So somebody who really has a lot of arsenal, a lot of moves, and knows how to read the battle and say, hey, he did this, I have a great response for that, right? They would be judging on the cipher category, right? So that's basically a rundown how the system works. They give a score round by round, not round for round, which round for round is one person goes, and then you decide who wins that particular round, which is a terrible way of judging. It's a judging format, but it's a terrible way of determining a winner, right? But it's become almost like, very popular and like kind of like almost a standard now, but it's not a good way to judge, which makes a lot of people confused, especially in the Olympics, going, what the heck just happened, right? Like the last guy completely killed it and did amazing, and it was going like this, and then you have to say, well, the other guy won the first round or 2 rounds, right? And it's like, what, right? Like, so I understand why it's really not good, but yeah, the way it works is the judge will give score from 1 to 5, 5 being perfect, 4 is good, average 3, poor is 2, and 1 is none. To every dancer, after they're done, they give them a score, each time they go out, right? And so in the end, it's calculated, and the winner is determined by who wins the majority of the 5 categories.
Yeah. All right, solid.
All right, okay, here we go. So you can see the screen?
Yes. Yep.
All right, here we go. All right, so I'm only one person, so it's not easy to judge all 5 at the same time, but I'll just try to point out what he's doing. So basic top rocks. Now, okay, so now he's doing pure flow and originality. right? Everything Menno does is moves that he kind of created, right? So it's a variation of a windmill, not a normal windmill. Okay, and he's got all this flow. Okay, so if I pause that right there, right, then it's hard to judge one person to judge on everything at the same time, and especially as the battle is progressing, right? Like, it's not easy to like you can't press pause like how we're doing now, right? But after this round, I would say his foundation is like between average and good, right? He's not very, very, very musical, right, in this round, but he is flowing with the music. He is dancing, right? His originality is either good or perfect because he's always only using his own moves. He's only doing his own stuff, right? Dynamics, it would be like from average to good, right? Because he didn't do anything that's super crazy, like super like painful or very hard to do, like really huge things. Even though he did do like some windmill variations, right? Execution, I think it was good, right? And then because he's starting it off, right? He's just you would be anyone who starts it off, they would be automatically given an average for starting it off, right? Unless they completely destroy the round, then they can get a good. Okay, so that's how it starts off. So are you with me on that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, cool. So I mean, maybe we should be writing this down, right?
But
so we can.
I got. So if you got that, here I got this. So tell me, we got which is which again? So
write fates. Fates is FATES. Just because it's an easy way to remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like foundation, artistry, technique. Because those are the original names before it got changed to originality and dynamics. FATES, right? S was strategy.
Okay.
So for foundation, let's just give him good, right? Let's be generous with it, right? Or actually, let's just say, I don't know, what would it say? Let's say average, okay, for foundation. Good for originality, right? Let's say it's average for dynamics, and then good for execution, and average for strategy or cipher, the last one.
So execution was average?
Yeah, no, it was good.
Good, okay. And cipher was...
He's just starting it off, so let's give him an average for starting it off.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, it's always, it's up to the next guy to beat it, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. So, all right, we're playing the next round. Here we go. Here's Icy Eyes. Okay, so clearly, right, he's more with the music. Okay, cool. Okay, so he's doing kind of like a windmill kind of punch, and he's doing kind of like a similar to. So he's actually responding to Menno with the punches if you look at it. Okay, so I'm gonna pause that. So right, so I would say in that round he was a lot more with the music, right? So let's just say that his foundation was good, right? He had good foundation, right? Really, with the song, with the track. His originality, I would say that it was like let's give it an average, right? Nothing that is absolutely like something you've never seen before, right? But it's still like there he is using some original ideas and concepts in there, right? Technique or dynamics, I would say what would you say what would you say dynamics? Would you say that's average or good? I guess you didn't really do anything higher or harder, right? So let's just give that an average, right?
Yeah, okay.
You didn't throw anything really, really big, right?
Wasn't necessarily a standout. Maybe it felt like it stood out from Menno's, but I mean, that's hard to compare between
there we go.
Those different types of originalities. because
Yeah.
it's clearly we can identify two b-boys that have got completely different styles.
Mm-hmm. So let's give it. So let's just say his execution was good that round, right? He executed well, right? And then I would say the strategy or the cipher, the last category, I would say that was good. It was a good reply because he was doing like a similar approach, but he was also dancing a bit more, but he was using like similar flow techniques and everything like that, and just throwing it kind of back at him. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a good reply, right? Showing, yeah, I kind of have something for that too, right?
Okay.
So that's where we'll be at right now. So if you look at the two scores, who's winning foundation?
Foundation.
Well,
That would be Icy Ives.
okay, and then
Originality, Menno.
Menno.
Execution, Menno. Dynamic,
Tide.
Tide. Yep.
Yeah, and then
Cipher, Icy Ives.
ICI. So ICI is winning 2, and Menno is winning 1 right now at this point, right?
Menno's winning 2.
Which ones are Menno winning?
Menno's winning originality and execution.
Oh, execution. So he had a good execution, and what did ICIs have?
ICI's had good cipher and good foundation.
Did he also? But he had. Did you give him an average in execution?
See execution.
3?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
4.
3. Or what is it supposed to be 4?
I would say that it was pretty good, right? I think that was a good. It was a good Well, it was good. It was executed pretty good, I think.
Okay.
So I would say it's tied.
Okay, so they both got 4 on that.
All right, let's continue. So then that's tied. So it's 2 for Ives, 1 for Menno, and then 2 are tied.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go. Let's continue. So let's see how Menno replies to his round. So it's not round for round where that round is set now. It's a continuation, right? Like where it's like some rounds can be weighted higher, so it adds to the overall, right? So let's see how Menno goes up. Just regular tops. Okay, here we go. Nice. So he's executing that well. The flow is good. A little bit more forward. Whoa. Okay, we're stopping that. Okay. So foundation, I would say for that round, I think the foundation was a lot. He actually is replying with foundation now, right? He's doing more footwork. He's more in his face, right? Like he's doing a bit more, right? I would say that round it was good. It still had the finesse, the flow, and he was trying to go more with the music on that particular round, right? His originality that round, of course, is good, right? Still all of his moves that he pretty much created, right? Dynamics. I think that this round his dynamics was actually good. He's doing like a lot more that fast, super fast crab dance.
Mm-hmm.
Crab dance, right? And his execution was good. He was hitting the freezes and everything like that. And then the cipher, well, yeah, he is kind of like responding back, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's actually like, saying, okay, you're doing more footwork and more foundation, so I can do that too, right? So I would say that his cipher strategy was good. So let's now see how Icy Ives is going to reply. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Let's hear the music. Oh, it's always in the pocket of the song. What? Oh, snap. Okay. So that particular round, right? His foundation was perfect on that round, right? Like he was really like with the music, really on it, and then finished the last move on the beat with a freeze, like with a pose at the very last move, right? So foundation wise, like yeah, he was on point. You know, he did everything in that round. Originality was good, right? His originality was good. He was doing that move that was his hands behind his back, right? His dynamics was good too, right? Technique and or dynamics was good. Execution was, I would say it's good. It wasn't perfect, but it was good too. And then his reply, his cipher strategy, I would say that was a good response as well, right? He was responding pretty well on that round. Okay, so if you tally those up, right, for each of the guys, what would the scores look like now?
Oh, hold on. So did we aside from foundation, it was good for everything else?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So second round, they're all tied except for foundation. So ICX has got a leg up on that one.
Yeah, that was a good round. It was a solid round, right? But if you calculate everything, then you know, maybe we can see who's winning, right? Like what you have to do now to know exactly who's winning is you have to calculate the points for foundation, originality, and see who's really winning in each of those 5 categories.
Yeah, for everything. Then foundation, ICIs would be up. Originality, Meta would still be up. Execution, they're tied.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamics, they're tied. And Cipher, ICIs would still have a leg up.
Okay, cool. Got it. Okay, so then let's go to the third round. How many rounds are there? 5?
There's only 3 this year.
3 rounds? Okay, cool. All right, so this is the final round, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so Meta was calling him out on repeating, which would actually, if he really was repeating, let me pause that. If he was really repeating, then that would affect your cipher and execution category. So, you know, right now how we're judging it based on this one battle. But a lot of people don't realize that you need to take into the account what was done in all the other battles too. And this goes for Menno too, right? It goes for both of them, right? So they can. So I'm just putting it out there, right? Because I'm not saying that whatever the final score on is doesn't mean that that's exactly how it would have been judged, because there's a lot more, and I'm only one person that's just judging it off the cuff, right? Where there are actually standards that each judge is actually looking for to say exactly what is perfect, good, average, poor, and none for each of the 5 categories. And one person doesn't have the ability to judge all of those at the exact same time with the exact same accuracy. So I'm just kind of winging it, right? Like just looking and trying to see, you know, what I think each one would be, right? So you understand what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so with that said, here's Menno for his third and final round. Cool. So it's a variation of his beat, and he's on the beat right there. He's switching with the beats on the pattern switch, looking really good. Who's on the beats? Okay, so that particular round, right? His foundation was, I would say that was perfect, right? Like he was really, really on it. You know, he had everything, right? The attitude, the flavor, and then he finished it with that freeze on that beat and got up with the confidence, the cut head, and as he was doing those patterns, he was doing those patterns and switching it with the music. So as and on every 4 count, it would switch to the next pattern, and all of those patterns were original. Right now, someone might say the rolling thing. Maybe he did it in another battle. I think he did. I'm not really 100% sure. But he was doing a variation of it where he's doing it mixed with the Air Baby, right? So it still counts, right? And it's still original. It's still, you know, his style that he made very popular in breaking. Everyone that's rolling around on the ground, that's using it in your style, you got it from Menno, okay? Right? Okay, so originality, I would say that round was perfect, right? He really, like, you know. The dynamics, I would say that it was, let's say it was, yeah, it was, would you say it was good or average? What would you think? Would that be average or good?
I'm leaning on good.
Yeah. Did he do any superhuman thing? Well, I mean, I guess he didn't really do any like big trick or anything like that, right? It was just more of like his overall style that was.
It was more. It was more of the switch up. I mean, you could have a counter argument for the length of the round, I guess.
Yeah.
It was kind of a short last round, so I don't know how that weighs in.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't weigh. It's quality over quantity, right? Just because, I mean, I know people do long rounds, but not because it actually really counts, but it's just a way to trick the judges who don't know what they're doing, right? Because when you're judging, for bad judges, right? This is just an example. For bad judges, a lot of times judges are sitting there and they don't know what they're looking at. They're just like having fun watching, and there's only two things that are very objective. One is if someone crashed or didn't crash, right? So a judge doesn't even have to look at any of the dancing, the quality of the creativity. They don't have to say, okay, that dynamics was hard. They don't have to break anything down. They just got to be like, well, he crashed or he didn't, right? Now, so it's a really lazy way of judging, right? And another lazy way of judging is sometimes both people don't crash. So what you do is you say, well, his round was longer, right? Like, like he had a longer round and yours round was short. And you're like, but what about the quality of it in the round, right? But a lot of judges don't know what they're looking at. So they just say, well, long round, short round, so long round, right? Like, even though the person in the long round didn't do much, right? But if you're looking at what he did in that round, Meadow did a lot in that round, right? Like he did a lot of stuff in that round.
That's
it was just fast. Yeah. It was just fast. It was just quick and then and precise. Not as long as he probably did before. Okay, cool. Which is smart actually. Which is smart because you don't want to give that guy a lot of time to rest.
Yeah.
Right.
So we decided on average or good.
Okay, sorry. So what was that? So with dynamics, I would say, you were saying that, let's just go with average to be,
okay.
Saying that he did do some stuff, but nothing that was like super like crazy difficult, like superhuman, right? Mm-hmm. Execution, I would say that execution for that round was perfect, right? He nailed that round for sure, right?
Yep.
And he hit that freeze on the beat coming out of his roll thing, so and then got up with, so, to be objective. And then his cipher response from the, what did I.E.S do before that? What was his move? Oh, he was doing that kind of roll thing with his hands behind his back, right? Uh-huh. So yeah, I would say it's a good response because he's kind of like, it's kind of like trying to do a Halos against Hong Ten, right? Like you're trying to do a Halo against Hong Ten, or trying to do the air chairs against like, Little G or something, right? It's kind of like, you might have a really good one and nail it, right? But the chance of that person coming back and doing it again is a very high chance, right? They're going to come back and have another reply. So, yeah, so that was a good reply. I'm not saying that it was perfect. If he did something with his hands behind his back, and then landed in that pose or something to throw it back in his face, then I would say it would be perfect. But it was good. It was a good reply, I would say, right? So,
right. And then originality, I think that's the last one.
Originality, I think I already said originality was perfect in that round, right? That was, yeah. So foundation was, what did I say for foundation?
Foundation was perfect.
Yeah.
Originality was perfect. Execution was perfect. Dynamics was average. And cipher was good.
Good. Yeah. Okay, good. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get on with this. So ICI is coming in. Okay, that was dope. Oh, this is hype. Nice. Okay. All right. So that round, I think that round was that round was short. That round was actually shorter, right? There was two major things that made that round dope. One was the back handspring back and then land in the splits on the beat, right?
Yep.
So in dynamics, I would say that gave his dynamics a little bit more, right? Good. Let's just say it's good because let's just give a good for that because that was risky for his balls, right? you know, well, that particular round, I would say his foundation was good, right? In terms of his actual originality in that round, I mean, I did see some stuff like little arm thread things and the little foot tapping thingy, but nothing that can be more than average in my opinion. Right? That was an average round in originality. His execution for that round, you could tell that he didn't know what to do at the very end. Right? For the last, he was kind of fishing and saying, I don't have a move for the last round. Right? So, but he did nail that backflip and jazz split. So let's get that for execution. Should we be generous? Good. Let's say good.
All right.
Should it be good? I don't know. No, because you can tell that he gave up at the end.
It started off really strong.
It started off strong, and then
the jack,
then it stopped, right?
Yeah.
No, I would say let's bring it down to average. Okay, right? Let's bring it down to average. And then for the cipher, the only thing that I saw that was a kind of a interesting response. It wasn't a particular response to the very last round. It wasn't responding to that. But the dancing crab, and then he did the jackhammer. So it could be kind of a response to that. But to score really high, you need to reply to the last thing that they did, the last best thing that they did, right?
Yep.
But it still counts. It would still count. So for that particular round, though, but the thing is, once again, in the cipher, right, like you can start off with that energy, but if you don't carry it all the way to the end and nail something at the end and go, wow, right, you in some way lose energy, you lose confidence, right, so I would say that for the cipher perspective, that would be like average response, right, but it started off really good. It was hype, right? He was, like he took off the shirt, he threw it, he was going nuts, and that was dope. But it was the last round that it didn't. Yeah, you could have nailed it a little bit more in that round. So, with that said, cipher would be average. So let's tally it up and see how that looks.
Last thing I got, I'm not sure if I caught it. Foundation for that round.
Foundation, I would say that was good. It was good.
Good. Okay.
Still dancing, still on the music, still hitting the beats. That was good.
All right. Let's tally that up. Give me a moment while I do math.
I don't know what it is, right? I'm nervous. So, depending on what it lands on, half the people are going to be like, it's good. And the other half are going to be, this sucks.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's see. All right. Got Menno's score.
Okay. Now you got to calculate Ives.
Yeah, Ives. Let's see. I'm just making sure I'm doing this right.
double check.
Yeah.
Your math.
Okay, so with all three rounds combined, you want numbers or you just want the results?
Let's break it down category by category. So what's the score for foundation for each?
Foundation, Menno has 12 total.
Yeah.
And Ives has 13. So
okay.
Ives foundation.
I took foundation, despite Menno getting a perfect in foundation for the last round, right?
Yep.
So overall, Ives won foundation. Okay, good.
Originality.
Mhm.
Menno's got 13, and
Mhm.
Ice Ives has 10. So
Okay. I'm giving
Menno.
that to. Ooh, 1-1. It's exciting.
Execution. Menno would have 13,
Mhm.
and Ives would have 11. So
Ooh. So it went to execution. Went to Menno. Okay.
dynamics. Menno has 10, and Icy Ives has 11.
Oh, it boils down to the cipher category. This is more exciting than the BC1 result.
And Cypher, they're tied at both 11.
Oh my gosh, they're both tied at 11. So what that means is now you have to do an overall tally, right? An overall tally of who scored more overall. So yeah, so tally them together and let's do the math.
All together? Okay.
Yeah, the total score. It goes to the total score.
Oh. Correcting myself, I almost did math wrong there.
Oh man.
Okay. Total math.
Total math. Here we go. Okay,
Okay.
this is gonna make or break the video.
Final score: Menno 59 and Icy Ives 56.
Oh man, no, all the people who are wanting Ives to win are gonna be pissed. but Ives was winning in the first two rounds, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so it really went down to the last round.
Yeah. Let's see that. Yes. First two rounds. Yeah.
He was winning.
Both were kind of close, but he technically was winning.
Yeah. So he was winning in the first. For the first two, he was winning, and it boiled down to the very last and coming in clutch. And Menno did come in clutch on the last round, right? Like he was strong, you know.
It was solid.
Yeah. It was solid. Oh my gosh! It went to the total score. Oh, that would have been epic if they used the system, right?
Every time I've watched our system be used, I thought it made it really epic.
Yeah, well, I guess that's how it would have broken it down. But that's with me just kind of choosing. Oh, wait a second. Why is my notifications going off like crazy? Okay, you're on silent now. Yeah. Yeah, like yeah. So what I'm saying is that I was just trying to judge and pressing pause, and that's not really how somebody could judge, and if they were doing it live, right? And you would have to get 5 people that are very well respected for those categories to judge each one of those, right? And not only that, right? Like they would have to be people who have kind of learned the standards of the system, right? Like to know what is perfect, good, average, poor, and none. Not to put someone in a box, but the point of the system is, if you're going to judge foundation, you should know all the elements and different perspectives of foundation before you make a decision, right? Like if you only like the Bronx style and you don't like the Latin style or a Brooklyn approach, then you're in some way biased, right? So you'd have to know the different approaches in foundation before you are able to determine whether someone's perfect, good, average, poor, not. Same thing with originality, right? Like it's not just about original moves. You have to take into account original style. Like having your own style is not easy to do. Having your own character or flavor, right, is like to put your own character flavor out there, and then having overall concepts, like like creating a concept. You have to be able to read all those things, right? And then in dynamics, it's not just what you think is difficult. You have to take into account all the different dynamic qualities like strength, speed, balance, explosive energy, flexibility, something dangerous, or something magical, right? Like you have to be able to look at all of those, not just the one that you want, right? And then if you're judging execution, it's not, oh, did he crash or hit his move? No. Did he execute a clean style? Did he execute a rhythm with the music, right? Like, was he in the rhythm? Did he execute his confidence, right? Or did he execute something new every round, or is he just repeating, right? Like, the same thing. You can't just do one move and then do the same move and get a perfect with execution. You have to execute something new every round. And then if you're judging Cypher, right, you have to look at so many things. You have to know all those things and seeing how someone's responding. You have to be able to read that conversation, right? And that's not easy, right? Like you only really know how to read a conversation if you have done it yourself, because you'd have to be able to say, if this guy did this move against me, how would I reply to that? And then when you see someone else reply, go, that was a good answer, right? That's the only way that you can do it. So it's not an easy way to judge, but the point of the system is to be fair and to be transparent, right? Like, and that's the main point, right? Some people, they value certain things more, so they're going to say, no, musicality is the most important, and I like Ives' musicality, which he clearly had like very high level musicality, right? So someone who weighs that more is going to for sure say he won, and then someone who very much weighs originality and individuality and style more is going to say Menno won, right? They're going to think that for sure, right? So yeah, the system's just trying to break things down and make it fair. But anyway, yeah, that was fun. That was super fun.
Yeah, no, I like doing that. That was something to check in on. I agree. Also, it is interesting to see like what each judge would do if they were tasked a particular judging section to go forward with. I have some things you hinted at around the very beginning about choosing how this event chooses judges, or any event in general would choose a judge, is to see like is there something specific that they got, or are they actually known for being a quote unquote fair judge, if such a thing can actually be or not.
Well, this is the thing about judging, right? Like the truth is that is without a system, it's completely subjective, right? It's based on what someone actually what they actually think, what they actually feel or believe in that moment, their subjective opinion on that moment. Of course, each one tries to be fair, but they're being fair based on their subjective opinion, right? So the only question is, who deserves a right to their opinion? Because everyone's got an opinion. So who deserves the right to sit on the biggest chair in the world, to decide people's career or fate of what's going to be the next trend, or who everyone's going to be copying for the next, how many years, right? And so, it depends on the organizer. And this is Red Bull. It's Red Bull's world, right? They've created their own world, a very, awesome world, you know what I mean? But they run the breaking world, right? They run the breaking show. And so they decide who judges based on their alliances and their allegiances and people who work with them, right? They're going to choose all-stars. They're going to choose people who have relationships with, I can't, the big thing that people were talking about with that particular battle is there's no way they're going to let Ives win, right? Because imagine a monster person winning a Red Bull event. The last time that happened was when Red Bull won the Monster event, Silverback Open, and then that was the last year. Monster pulled out after that, right? Of course it's gonna happen, right? So, and I can't imagine working for Red Bull, sitting there, and then voting against Red Bull for a monster athlete. I can't imagine someone doing that, right? I can't imagine what would be in their mind, right? And if they actually did vote against them, I would give that person so much props, because you're throwing away your career, right? Like your connection. Like Red Bull's gonna be like, what? We're never getting you to judge again, right? This is the truth, right? Hope they don't get mad at me for saying this, right? But it's the guest of honor was Joromski. Like he's kind of like the guest of honor at this battle. He's the only one. He's the only one that's not in that Red Bull, deep in that Red Bull world. So he's the only one the judge voted for Ives, right? Which makes sense because he's a foundation, very heavily foundation attitude and feeling, the music kind of guy. And Ives is like that too, so he's gonna look at him and go, "Yo, he just rocked the beat like better than Menno," you know. So of course he's gonna, but he would actually have the kahunas to vote against the Red Bull 3-time, now 4-time world champion, right? He would actually have the he would be the only one that would be down to do that because he's not on the Red Bull payroll, right? So, you know, I'm not saying that everyone else would either, but I was saying that it would be very, very difficult, right? Like, if I was employed by Red Bull and I'm sitting there and then the Red Bull champion is going against, that would be a very, very hard decision. I'd really have to be like, I don't care what happens to me. I'm just going to be very, very honest. I'd have to be one of those people, you know? That's really hard to do. That's really hard to do, you know?
As someone who's not really in on that all that much, just me and enjoying these things with the crewmates I had undergraduate. And as someone who, again, graduated in the entertainment business master's program recently, my idea, I don't know if this is actually how it would happen, but me just observing it, kind of comparing it to other competitive sports, and I know sports is a weird word that we have right now.
What's the Olympics? It's not right anymore.
I guess not. But I, in my opinion, if Icy had won, I don't think it would have been the end of the world, because I think that would have provided a new kind of talking point, and I think it would have lifted up the possibilities of what could actually happen. I'm kind of in with the results. I kind of agree with them, actually. Again, my novice, non-professional opinion here, but I have completely different opinions about what happened through some of the other battles that led to the final, but I can't control that. What happened in the final and what we were judging here and now, I would personally kind of agree with the results. Yes, I think overall a lot of people are just kind of, I think some people, whether they think it's rigged or fed up or whatever ultimate sentiment these kinds of people have on the internet, I think the winner. I don't think it was rigged in the final at all. But there are a lot of other potential possibilities that could have happened. But again, it's all about what you bring to the moment.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it. I think I was watching a podcast from Domke recently, and I think he said like, "Oh yeah, it's possible for any dancer to be any dancer at any depending on the day." Because it always depends on what you bring to the battle. Just because you are known for a particular move, that doesn't mean that you're going to bring it every single time. Maybe you're having an off day, or maybe you chose to battle when you were sick, or I don't know, maybe you had a limp wrist. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
well, I think this battle is this particular battle. It's just, like Ives was like an underdog, and people like underdogs, right?
Yeah, very true.
And he killed his way throughout the competition, like doing really well, right? And so he really kind of won the hearts of the people. You know what I mean? Just the same way Killakoila won the hearts of India, right? Like like you can win the crowd, right?
Yeah.
But just because you win the crowd doesn't mean you win the judges. And no matter what anyone says, there's still politics in it. Not saying in this particular battle, because actually I didn't know who won. People always ask me, who do you think really won? I'm like, I don't know. It really just matters on who's judging at that moment, right? Who I think won? Actually, I don't really know, right? Like I don't really know. I was just enjoying the battle and getting hype, right? Like of course, Menno's my boy, and actually, to be honest, I was hoping that Menno was. I mean, I was kind of, part of me wants Ives to win, because he's Filipino, like me, right? Like, he's wearing a monster shirt. He's an underdog, and just, seeing him come up, I want him to win. At the same time, I think that if a monster won, a monster athlete won, it's gonna be a problem. I actually really think that. Like, you know, it would have been. I don't even know what kind of reaction is gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna be that as smooth as everyone thinks. It's gonna be like, you know, like it ended the sponsorship. Monster stopped with Silverback once Red Bull won their event, and even I was like, did Red Bull just win a Monster sponsored event? Right? Like, who thought this was a good idea? Right? Like, you know, who thought it was a good idea to invite all these Red Bull people to a Monster event? Right? Like, right? Like, did anyone think, well, maybe Monster might pull out if that happens? Right? Like, you know?
It's
So,
competitive. Yeah.
yeah. And then also, like, I know, like, Menno is like a hard worker, you know what I mean? And he's got like mad kids now, you know? And so he has